Okay, you're here, Babladimos. Welcome to a small conversation with Vasili. You were actually born in Dubbo in 1940, and your parents, Panayoti, was from a place called Atalanti, and he migrated to Australia as a 15-year-old in 1917. So a pioneer migrant here in Australia, and he works, the country towns, and he ends up in Mount Isa as a miner. He does sugar plantations in North Queensland. He seems to do everything.
Yes.
Right? And then in 1936, he returns to Greece, where he meets Maria Zganzos from Kalamata.
Yes.
They marry and they return to Australia. And your story begins when the family was in Dubbo.
Right, yes.
Okay, in Dubbo. So tell me, Dad, what was Dad doing in Dubbo?
Well, he was running an ice cream
Run.
run.
Right, from going from houses to houses, selling ice cream.
Yes.
Okay,
Or down the streets.
Or down the streets, yeah, that's right. And Dubbo's quite a large town.
It is now much larger than what it would have been then.
Yes, I think so too. And, a couple of kids are born in Dubbo too.
No. Oh, yeah,
Yes, a couple of kids. You've got, your sister Vasiliki, you've got Costa, yourself. But the thing is, you relocate from Dubbo and you come down to Sydney. What happened?
Then they went to a place called
Bonnyrigg. But why did you move from Dubbo? There's a bit of a story there.
Well, we moved from Dubbo because there was always floods.
That's right.
In the Macquarie River when it was winter, and the floods used to go up so high that there was no way that they could stay with the kids there.
Right. So they pack up and they come down to Sydney, where you've got Panayoti, Maria, 3 kids, and they live initially at Bonnyrigg. They move to Guilford, and an opportunity arises.
That's right.
So tell us about that opportunity.
Well, the opportunity arises that Dad bought a fruit shop in Merrylands Road, and he had a good business there. He had customers coming in and out and all that kind of thing, and he appeared to do well because he made enough money to build a house in Pitt Street, Merrylands.
With a shop underneath?
Shop, there was just flat.
Okay, one story.
There was one story, the shop, and behind the shop was the house.
And do you remember anything about the shop? Do you remember how it was? It wasn't just a fruit shop.
No. Well, it had half fruit shop, half haberdashery.
So how did that come about? Why have you got fruit and veg on the one side, and then you got needles and kedimata and...
Who knows? Who knows?
It must have been in vogue.
No, who knows? Well...
And did Mum work in the shop in the haberdashery section?
Well, Mum was looking after us kids at the back of the house, but when Dad got busy, he had a little button to press that went into the house, and Mum had to come out into the shop.
So like a little buzzer?
Yes.
Okay, no worries. And how about you kids? Did you kids help out in the shop too?
Oh no, we were all quite young and that we'd started school, and yes, we...
And you said in Auburn, in Merrylands,
yes,
there were other Greeks that were living there.
Yes.
So who were the others that had shops there? Who had the deli, for example?
Well, they were Kubari. They christened our younger brother, and they were called Valandis.
Oh, the Valandis.
Peter, Valandis, and what was the lady's name? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She was Kubara.
That's right. And who had the milk bar?
There was another lot. They were named Divanis.
Okay, so...
And they had the milk bar, and after I'd grown up, I went and worked in their milk bar for a while.
Oh wow, what a small world.
Yes, so it was good. It was across the road from the place and everything, and we...
And your dad calls this new shop that he builds,
yes,
he calls it
Peter's Emporium.
Wow.
Yes.
Which means it sort of has this suggestion that you can find anything you want in there.
Exactly. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you've got another few siblings that arrive while you're there. Like, for example, I think Andonis and Philip, Emmanuel, I think, are born.
Yeah, no, Philip and Emmanuel, it's the same person.
Yeah, Philip and Emmanuel.
Well, Philip and Emmanuel were born at the house in Guilford.
Oh.
1 year was Andoni was born, and then there's poor old mama. She's so proud she got a little boy,
And
she had him at home.
and also Hariklia too. You got Hariklia too.
Yeah, Hariklia was born before the boys.
So how did Mum manage with all these kids?
Oh, I would say that my mum was the most misunderstood person in those days. She had no relations here.
Oh, no Siginis.
And no Siginis, not cousins, not from Dad's side and not from Mum's side.
So there was no family network to look after the kids, to support her.
We had some kubari and they used to come and help with
out,
it and
yeah.
that.
It wasn't the same.
No, it wasn't the same. Yes.
Wow. And, you know, unfortunately in 1954, tragedy strikes your family.
Yes.
And
well,
Dad passes away.
Dad passes away after 7 years of
Illness. Wow.
Yeah.
And Mum is left with 6 kids.
6 kids and
No income.
no income, no one to look after her. And she wasn't a well person, having all these children. And, you know, the days were not like today when you can go anywhere and buy your personal belongings, personal things, you know, for your bathroom and all that kind of thing. They had to do it the old way, when you look back, it must have been an embarrassing situation.
Or very sad situation.
Yes,
You know?
very sad.
Because, I mean, she didn't do anything wrong. You know, her husband passed away.
She looked after him.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, when Dad passed, he left everything to Mum. And he loved Mum and she loved him. And he wrote in his will, I leave everything to my beloved wife to the last fork in the house. All right, because they didn't know. There were 6 children. The eldest one was 16. And then Constantino was 15. I was 13 and a half. Hariklia was 12. And Tony was, because he was 2 years younger, 10. And young Philip was 8.
Wow.
Nah.
So and you've got this battle now with the shop too.
Oh yes. Well, after a few years as we got older, Mum decided that we should have the shop back because it was rented to a returned soldier back in those days, and you could not
Evict him
no.
or tell him to move on.
No. So.
Wow, so there's a bit of a mess there too.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you make the papers.
Yes.
You make the papers.
Oh, yes. Well, back in 1956, 57, Mum decides she had enough. So she decides to take the matter in her own hands because she could not get anyone, not council, not anyone, not government, to listen to what she had to say.
Do you look, because we're looking at the 50s now, the 50s.
Yes.
The women didn't have a voice then.
No.
Right, so she's like, I'm sure people would have seen her situation.
She tried, but
you know, and she would have been exploited. She would have been manipulated because she had 6 kids. She was a widow, and society, I suppose, frowned or frowned upon her. You know what I mean? The fact that, you know, so very sad.
We did have some nice Greek people around in the area, like the ones that I said, the delicatessen, the milk bar, and then there was the butcher across the road.
Oh, was he Greek too?
He was Greek too. They were from Kefalonia.
Oh.
And there were a couple of brothers there, and they always asked Mum, did she need
Oh, that's
anything?
nice.
Oh, absolutely. And the brothers, there was 3 brothers that owned the shop, and each one didn't tell the other one what they were doing for Mum. And in the winter time, they'd give her nice bones, you know, for a supper and all that kind of thing. And then the other one would give her something else, or sausages or whatever. Yes. And then there was the fruit shop. They were Italians. And they would say to Mum, will you come, do a few hours work, and you can take fruit home. So, you know, she had that.
Yeah, she sort of got by, but it must have been tough.
Oh, it was. And especially when we only had the elder sister working at that time when Dad passed.
Because you were saying you were still, you know, you went to Pitro, which became Parramatta West Public School, but then you went to Parramatta Home Science School. What was it? What was that for, girls' home science school?
Yeah, that was a girls' home science school.
What was that all about? What was?
Oh, well, that was home science was actually, we had cooking lessons, sewing lessons,
Okay.
and making the beds, using the vacuum cleaner.
Wow.
Yes.
Right, but the thing is, even though you're at Parramatta or Home Science School, you're working part-time as a 14-year-old
Yes, yes.
in the milk bar.
In the milk bar from Friday nights to Sunday, and then Monday morning I'd get up and go back to school, and the same route through the...
So tell me about life in the milk bar. What was life in the milk bar in the mid-50s like, or the late 50s?
Very busy.
Very busy?
Very busy, because I would finish school and I'd get there, you know, like about 4:30, 5 o'clock. And by the evening, well, people were ordering their foods, and because it was more of a restaurant too, they had food. And by that time you finished serving the customers for their dinner and that, then the cinema would come out. The, what do we call it, interval.
So the interval rush.
Yeah, oh my God. And then we had to have things ready. Mr. Nick, he would always make lots of pineapple drink and all that and have it all ready. And he was a good man, yes, yes. And he always...
Tell me something, with Mum, you know, being a widow and having 6 kids, was there time to be Greek?
Well, we only had Greek in the house.
Oh, is
Mum
that...
and Dad
Wow.
refused us to talk English in the house.
So it was all Greek.
Yep, yeah, yes.
And if you needed to go to church during Easter,
Yes.
and you know, you, where would you go? Like Guilford
Well,
was so far away, you
But
know.
we did. We when Dad was well, and for Good Friday, are you all right? Do you want to
Yeah,
do
no,
that
no,
in
no,
there?
yeah.
For Good Friday, well, we'd all be ready to go to St Sophia in Dowling Street.
Oh wow.
In the city.
That must have been an excursion back then, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
A whole day affair.
Oh, and poor Mama, she made lovely dresses for the 3 girls, and the boys had to wear their short longans or long shorts, whatever, just so that they fit them for the next year. Yeah.
So tell me, when you were going to school, I imagine going to school at Parramatta West Public, you know, not having so many Greeks out there.
Oh, we weren't. There was only a handful.
Only a handful, right?
Yeah.
So how did Australians pronounce Georgia Babladimos?
Oh, well, they just Georgia.
Just Georgia?
Just Georgia.
Right.
Or Harriet, or...
Okay.
Yes.
Right. And how were you treated out in the
Well, it was
western side?
funny because now a lot of them tried to be a little bit mean to us and that and call us names, and so we decided to gang up because there were 6 of us, one in kindergarten and one in 6th class, and we all ended up ganging up on them, and we were talking in Greek in front of them,
Okay.
and they got really angry.
Well, so you had a sibling in all years.
Yes. Oh, yes.
It's hilarious, hilarious.
Yeah.
So tell me something. What was the expectation for you at home, like as a teenage girl?
Well, I didn't have much expectation because I was working all the time.
Right, yep.
From school and work, and then I'd get home about 9, 10 o'clock in the evening. So by the time I got home, I was pushed into the bathroom and have your wash and off to bed.
Okay, wow.
Yes.
And once you finish your Parramatta Home Science School, what's your first job?
Oh, what was my first job? Well, it was factory work.
Was it?
Factory work, and one of my jobs was working in a gel dye factory. They made the quilts and that, and then years later they brought machines in and made the thicker ones.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And was work easy to find back then?
Yes. You could have gone next door. I could have gone next door to 3 milk bars if I wanted to and get the job straight away. Somebody said to me, well, look, we don't need you here. I'd just go next door.
Oh, wow, it was like that.
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, see, if they lost me, then they must have lost a worker or something. And, you know, it worked out quite well for them.
And tell me something, socially, as a teenage girl, who are your friends? Are your friends Greeks? Are they Italians? Who do you gravitate to? Like,
Look, I didn't have many friends because for some reason or other, when I met my friends, then they'd either leave the school or they'd leave the district or they'd leave whatever, and then I thought to myself, oh well. And then after as Dad passed, I didn't have time for friends when I had to be
working.
and going to school.
That's right.
Yes.
But what draws you to the Greek functions? Why do you go to Greek functions?
Oh, I enjoy them. I enjoy the music, like the other day when we went for the
25th of March, Greek Independence Day?
yes, the Greek Independence Day. And well, in the beginning we were a little bit slow there. We thought, you know, what's going on with, but when it started, the real thing, everybody, those beautiful children dancing. They,
I mean,
yes.
how do you feel when you see, you know, like second, third generation children dancing
I'm
and saying,
proud of them. I'm very proud of them. That's why I, you know, like my Marina, she opened a Greek dancing school in Mittagong in 1996.
wow.
And she taught people from down those areas Greek dancing.
So it must be in your blood.
Well, Mum always loved to sing, and and she had a lovely voice like Marina, you know. That's where Marina gets it from.
It's in the genes.
Yeah, and then Marina just picked it up, and that when Dad died, Mum never sang a word again.
Oh, well, that's
She
understandable.
never did again, and you know.
So after all these years you're here, who's your year? Is she Greek? Is she Australian? Like, you were born here, but you're very Greek.
Well, Georgia is Georgia.
Okay, all right.
I'm individual.
Yes.
I'm an individual because there's things that I like and there's things I can't be bothered with,
Yep.
and there's things that that if it's justice, I'll fight for justice. But I'm a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Yes. So, and I don't worry about who the people are or where they come from or whatever, as long as they're
Good people.
good people, and you must listen It doesn't matter if you don't agree or not. Listen, you don't have to do anything that somebody else tells you. And I've learned that over the years.
Georgia Babladimos, thank you very much for the conversation.
Oh, and I thank you. Thank you, love, yes. Oh, look at